Yeah, this is a live. I'm gonna start talking now and wait for people to come in. So just in case you're looking back at this later, you won't have to wonder why I'm start talking to people later if people decide to come on. If they don't, I'm still gonna talk. So yeah, it's Facebook Live, like I've already mentioned. Titled it God, Religion, and Politics, because there's a statement that says that if you don't want to start an argument, you don't talk about those three things. Well, I'm one that likes to kick over sacred cows and talk about the tough issues. And so that's why I titled it God, Religion, and Politics. And because we're going to talk about God, religion, and politics. Not too much about politics. I don't really know a lot about that, enough to speak on it like that. But do know a lot about God and religion. And the reason why I came on here, welcome to my live viewer. I don't know who it is. But the reason why is because I wanted something to talk about. As always, my viewer is gone now. But yeah, and I was reading in my chronological Bible reading today, because I go to a church to where they encourage us to actually read the Bible, because you can't be an expert on something that you know nothing about. So I dig it. It's very important to read the Bible. Sidebar, it's not just important to read the Bible, but it's important to know the context of what the Bible is coming out of, to know, yo, what's up, Tim? It's important to know the context in which the Bible was written, what was going on around the time. You don't read the Bible like a newspaper. It's a religious text. It's a Jewish text. And there's a lot of history and poetry and a whole bunch of other stuff on it. I'd like to take this opportunity to tell everybody to go and buy a book by, forget what his name is. I'll put it in the comments. It's called What is the Bible? It escapes me what the author is of that book. Rob Bell. Rob Bell. R-O-B-B-E-L-L. Rob Bell, he has a book out called What is the Bible? It's an excellent resource. It's got stuff in there that you wouldn't believe. And it really opens your eyes to what the Bible is. It broadens your mind about what the Bible is. That's all I'm going to say. You can go read the synopsis and get it for yourself. But the Bible is much more than many people portray it to be. Much, 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 much more. So look that up. But yeah, God, religion, and politics. So reading the book of Daniel, that's where we are in our chronological Bible reading. And I like it because it's just got a lot of narratives and a lot of stories. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's a great book, great resource, especially for people that are non-Christian. It's a great resource because it encourages people to actually read the Bible from a different perspective, a well-rounded perspective. But yeah, reading the book of Daniel, and you know, I guess to cut a long story short, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream that nobody can reveal to him what the dream is. He's like, you got to tell me what the dream is, and more than that, you got to tell me what I had a dream of, and then tell me the interpretation. And then to make the matters worse, he can't remember the dream that he had. And he's trying to get all these wise people to help him to remember the dream and interpret it on top of that. It's like, what's going on with you? Like, and then if you don't, if you reveal to me my dream, if you remind me of what I dreamed of, and if you interpret it, then I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of riches and you're gonna be, you know, basically set. But if you can't interpret my dream, and if you can't reveal to me what dream I had, I'm going to cut you in pieces. Well, I guess they better get to guessing. The reason why he did that is because, you know, he said, you know, if I give you guys time, y'all going to make up lies and try to lie to me about what my dream is. So he moved with haste so that he know it was real. Anyways, long story short, Daniel, the executioners are going out to kill all the wise men, of which Daniel and his other 3 friends are wise men. So he got balls, because he talks to the executioners like, why is the king wanting this to happen so fast? Why is he moving so hasty on wanting to kill all of us? And then the person told him, you know, here's the deal. I want to kill all y'all quick because basically he don't want to be lied to. And if you can't just on the spot reveal to him the dream that he had, then I guess you're going to feel the wrath of King Nebuchadnezzar. Long story short, I know I said that like, I don't even know how many times. But anyways, he reveals the dream, and then Nebuchadnezzar's like, oh, you know, worship Daniel's God because his is the real God. But then in chapter 3, because we had to read 3 chapters today, in chapter 3, he erects this golden image for all nations and all different people to worship in the kingdom. But I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't you just say that you was going to worship the God of Daniel because he revealed to you your dream and there's nobody else that can do it? Then why are you erecting a golden image to be worshipped now? And then threatening to kill people if they don't bow down to it? I'm not even going to get into the story about the 3 Hebrew boys. We already know what happened in that story, in that narrative. But my thought is this, and Rob Bell talks about this a little bit in the book, What is the Bible? One World Government. Yeah. On top of that, so that points to a one world government. You want to, which is points to politics. One world government. Nebuchadnezzar, he knew about God. God revealed to him his dream. But back in the day, every people had a God. Every people had a God. Every nation had a God. So their God was closely associated with their religion. Their God was closely associated with their government as well. Back in the day, they associated their kings with God, like Pharaoh was God. So it's not a strange thing that a king would erect this image for other people to worship. It's not a strange thing that Nebuchadnezzar would have contact with servants of the living God, have God interpret his dream for him, and continue to serve whatever the God of his nation was. The reason why it's not weird for that to happen is because religion is so commonplace. Ever since the dawn of the ages, man has believed in God. The very reason why there are a lot of religions in the world is because nobody believes that there's not a God. I know we got atheists. Oh, there's not a God. If you don't believe in a God, at the most you believe in yourself. And if you claim to be an atheist or not believe in God, you're your own God. All idolatry is, all idol worship is worshiping your own interests. Nebuchadnezzar set up a golden image to worship. The children of Israel, they set up images to worship. They walked through the fire. They sacrificed to these quote-unquote gods. all idolatry is, the root of idolatry is self. And yes, they may have worshipped to fallen angels. You know, there are gods that they worship that actually responded to them. You think about how when Moses was, you know, going and telling Pharaoh to let his people go, and how they were able to do some miracles, even down to turning their staffs into snakes, just like Abraham did. You got to ask yourself, how did that happen? Well, it happened because there are such things as angels, fallen angels, that still have power, supernatural power. So you can, in fact, serve another God. But there's only one true God, and that's Jehovah. And you know, people that have good sense know that. But yeah, so God, religion, and politics, they are closely related. They always have been. They always have been. So it's not strange. It's not strange to have a theocracy. You know, you ever heard of democracy? Yeah, democracy. Well, a theocratic nation is somebody who, you know, God is their leader. It's not strange. They do that with voodoo. They worship other gods. And all other gods are really is fallen angels. They're spirits. Other gods are fallen angels. They're spirits that have legitimate power, spiritual power. Like, it's real. So there are such things as other gods, but they're all beneath God. They're not the true and living God. You know, Satan wanted to ascend to heaven and be like the Most High. And he ascended all right, but he got kicked down out of heaven, along with a third of the angels. So I don't doubt that there are other gods. I know that there are other gods with power. However, God is over what other gods there may be in this world. But yeah, I just came on here to say that God, religion, and politics are very closely related. And voodoo is tied with the Catholic Church. I don't doubt it for a minute. I don't doubt it for a minute that voodoo is tied with the Catholic Church. And it's crazy. Which brings me to another topic. Like, I've heard, I think it was Marco Rubio, when he was running for the president, he stood up and he basically, line by line, like, listed out the gospel. Like, if I had no other knowledge, I would have known, or I would have thought that he was, you know, just a Christian and not a Catholic. There are people in other folds of denominations or religions that truly believe in God, that just have a certain peace and they're harped on that peace. I believe that there are, we'll have to chop, yeah, we should get up and talk about it one day. I'll leave you with this one other thought before I get to my destination. I believe that there are other, you know, Jesus says there's other sheep of this fold. He says something about other sheep of other folds. Doesn't mean that other religions have other ways in, but when he said other sheep I have in other folds, he was talking to the Jews. He came first for the Jews, right? Jesus, he came to the lost sheep of Israel. But the other sheep that he was talking about were all the other Gentiles. Yes, they still have to come through the door, which is Jesus Christ, but Jesus has other sheep and other folds. I believe that there are people that are Jehovah's Witnesses, that are true Bible believing saints. It doesn't what am I telling? It doesn't validate their religion. It doesn't validate their denomination. But there are people that are Jehovah's Witnesses. There are people that are Seventh-day Adventists. There are people that are Methodist, Catholic, Mormon. There are different people in different denominations, and I would even venture to say different religions, that just need the truth. so that they can come out of whatever they're in. And so that's why you got to be very careful too, not to just write off a Jehovah's Witness, or not to just write off a Mormon, or not to just write off a Catholic. Because these people, they have truth. They have things that are true. And a lot of times we like to write off stuff that's true because it doesn't fall within our religious preference. I'm not saying that we should have a church of all nations where everybody is accepted, no matter if you're agnostic, no matter if you do believe in God, no matter if you're a Muslim or a Mormon. That I don't believe that all faiths can coexist like that. All faiths already coexist on the earth, because if they didn't, there would only be one religion. There would only be Muslims. There would only be Mormons. There would only be agnostics or atheists or Jehovah's Witnesses. All faiths already coexist on this earth, but all faiths contradict too. But let me go back to what I was saying before. There are other sheep in other folds that still need Jesus. I would like to see pastors go into Jehovah's Witnesses temples and preach. I would like to see people go into Mormon temples and preach. I would like to see Christians go into mosques and preach. Why not? There are people that are in these denominations and in these religions that are believers. It's just not the people in the world that need Jesus. It's the people in these sects that need Jesus too. So, yeah, don't be quick to write off a Mormon. Don't be quick to write off a Jehovah's Witness. Don't be quick to write off a Muslim. Accept what is true and throw out what's not. But you got to have the tough conversations. Just because you saved doesn't mean that you can't talk to a friend that's agnostic, or that's atheist, or that's Muslim, or that's Buddhist, or that, I watched this thing on yoga and Yogananda, or whatever his name was. These people, that's crazy. When disasters hit, we put all in to survive. Yep, we do. But yeah, accept what's true. I mean, if Yogananda says something that's true, if Gandhi says something that's true, don't write them off. Accept what's true. Create dialogue. Talk with these people. I mean, especially for a Christian, we should be some of the most tolerant people because we're secure in our faith. For you to write off a Jehovah's Witness or a Mormon or a person who believes in yoga or Buddhism, for you to just automatically write them off, it speaks more to your fear and your insecurity in your own religion than it does the fact that they're wrong. Don't just write people off because you believe that they're wrong. They may be. But you want to do things that don't speak to fear. We got to be careful not to do things that speak to our fear of maybe I'm not following the right way, or maybe Jesus isn't the right way, or maybe he isn't the way to heaven. Because a lot of people, they would never say it, and they would never voice the doubt that goes through their mind out of their mouth. But I submit to y'all that there's a whole lot of people that in their heart of hearts, they doubt God. They doubt that he's the true way. And it's easy to spot. It's easy to spot that they doubt God and they doubt that he's the true way because they're so defensive. You gotta love your neighbor. That's your gay neighbor. That's your Muslim neighbor. That's your Mormon neighbor. That's your Buddhist neighbor. That's your neighbor, period. I mean, even in the example that came from, it was a Jew and a Samaritan, which didn't believe the same thing, but they were enemies. However, the point about it was to love your neighbor, no matter what kind of neighbor it is. But yeah, so the final thought is, be very careful when somebody is so so militant about professing their belief, because it's going to show one of two things. It's either going to show that they are very passionate about their belief, or the second thing is going to be true. In most cases it is that they are forecasting their fear on the person. They're so, oh, no, Jesus is the true way. Jesus. Okay. Sorry for my hand in the camera. But yeah, a lot of the times people are so defensive and offensive about religion and God because they don't believe the words that are coming out of their mouth. Because if they did, they wouldn't have to be so unloving or so militant. But it's been good, y'all. I'm about to get these tickets to see Heart of Man. It's a movie that comes out tomorrow for a one-night showing only. If you haven't got your tickets, please do so. This is going to be a great movie. It's called Heart of Man. It's about freedom from shame and lust. It's got a great gospel presentation in it. I've seen from the previews, and if you follow me on Facebook, I'm pretty sure that you've at least seen me post about it. But man, there's still tickets available, and I want to see it succeed. I believe that if it does good on tomorrow, and it's showing across the nation, so no matter where you're seeing this from, check out your area as far as where it's showing and buy a ticket. If you can't go and see it, hey, if you can't go and see it, buy a ticket for somebody that can. But let's get this movie good ratings. Let's get a good turnout for it, so that way it can have more than just a one-night showing. This is a movie that's got the gospel in it. It's talking about guilt and shame. It's talking about the love of the Father. And this is something that's going to change a lot of lives. So I'm going to get my ticket and I'm going home to my wife. I'm hoping that my electricity is back on. Yeah, so it's been great with you guys. Thanks for staying on tune and putting your input and talking to me during this video. I think that was Donette that's watching this video too. Shout out to you. Love you, sis. Love you, bro. But we'll chat up later. All right. Bye-bye, y'all.